Welcome to Morning Joe with Tom, with your host, Thomas Chappell. Get ready to listen to real-life stories from inspiring leaders who have overcome incredible challenges to rise to the occasion. If you're ready to add some pep to your morning with a new outlook on leadership, then grab your cup of coffee. It's time to be inspired. Here's your host, Thomas Chappell.
So, Isaiah, it's been some time since we've seen each other. You're doing great things down there in Austin, Texas. So, for my listeners, I've been, you and I have known each other a great number of years. I think, as a matter of fact, our first time meeting was back at BVTI, I think it was. So,
it's got to be 2008, 2009, something around.
Yeah, and I think I actually worked for you. So, so all said and done, why don't you take an opportunity and just kind of tell my listeners a little bit about yourself, about your new ventures that you've got going, and just how you love to serve people.
Okay. Like most entrepreneurs and probably people listening, I don't fit in any good box. So there's just all these different threads, that come together. I'm always inspired by that one talk that Steve Jobs gave about how he learned calligraphy in college. Mm-hmm. And then 12 years later, he installed fonts on a computer for the first time. And he's like, I never knew that would happen. My life is like that in a lot of ways. So I was an intelligence analyst major, but I only did that actual work for a couple of years, probably. Working in government, as you know, can be one of the most soul-crushing things for a high achiever.
Yeah, no,
are you allowed to say that on this show?
You haven't crossed any boundaries yet.
Okay, all right. So I actually started a business from a government job because they told me to sit in that chair. Even though I could do my work in 2 days, they wanted me to stretch it over 2 weeks. And I was like, okay. And I played Flash games for a little bit and I'm getting depressed, actually. I need to do something. I've got these ideas and this and that. Nope. You're billable by the hour. Take this long to do it. And then one day I was like, can I start a business from here while I'm here? And we don't care. As long as you get that job done every 2 weeks, we're billing you for that. You do whatever you want to. And so started a business, coaching speech and debate, and did that for 15 years by night while doing tech businesses by day. And I've been in most industries, and I've now done some turnarounds. So I've taken over for failed product companies who spent maybe $3 or $6 million and maybe 1 to 4 years trying to build a app or something, and either it didn't work or it worked and nobody downloaded it. And coming in and trying to figure out what is underlying value and how do we right this ship. Those were some intense experiences. So I'm kind of like, I tell people I'm kind of like a spreadsheet. I'm the second best tool for everything. And so I come in there and kind of look wide, see what's going on, look at what resources are available, and pull on very general skills and common sense and experience to try and chart a path of very hyper action, help people break through, have an aha moment, and sometimes win at their business. And sometimes I talk people back into their day job. Like, yeah, you don't have anything here. You're in for a lot of grief and suffering.
Wow.
That's pretty inspiring, right?
Good, right? No, but that's good. I mean, sometimes you need, some people need that, it's a reality check. And why suffer through and get frustrated why you can't do something? So yeah, hey, I understand that. But, really, you kind of touched on a lot of things that you bring to the table. what is it that leaders are facing that you really kind of bring to bear day in, day out? Because you said a lot of general things, but let's dive into one or two of those things that, because a lot of my listeners are leaders. So even some of them may want to talk to you at some point. So what are some of those deep dive issues that you can really solve in for?
Yeah. So it's all the squishy stuff that it's not your accounting or your math. It's that leaders by and large trust that their team is going to do less than 60% of what their team says they're going to do. It's that you clearly communicate the problems and state of your company, but nobody outside of yourself even then seems to come up with the ideas and plans that solve those problems. So you're like just putting it in front of your team. You're like, this problem. Hey, where is anybody going to solve this? And you're kind of on repeat with that. It's when you think people should be buying your product and they're not. Those are the sorts of problems that require someone to span across a lot of disciplines and connect a lot of dots, usually human dynamics. And so what I bring is classical rhetoric and brain science and philosophy and action all together, because executives are missing in their teams the big three: communication, adaptiveness, and critical thinking from their teams. That's what they're missing.
Oh, I can attest to critical thinking. I mean, that's a frustration of many hours from universities that there's a lack of. So
yes. Oh, it's fundamentally, it's unfortunately has a lot to do with our misidentification of learning. That learning is sitting a butt in a seat with somebody conveying information, or worse, a pew. And that's just not how humans learn. Most skills have to be caught and experienced, but we prop people up with that they're leaders because actually they just had high test scores.
Right.
But they didn't actually lead any project of significance. And you find that experience does much more than knowledge, and those two need to meet. And so skill, craft, theory, they all kind of come together. There aren't very many learning environments where you can get all that outside of music and sports, actually.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So what is different that your client can come to expect from working with you? So in other words, how does it set, how are you setting them apart from their competition, in other words, by working with you?
Yeah, it's the main thing that my clients expect from me is, or appreciate, I think, is just that I'm a practitioner as much as I'm a coach. So there's a fair amount of people out there who will coach your team in sales tactics or communication skills, but they don't really do it anymore. And for me, I'm not willing to ask anybody to do something that I'm not doing. And I'm always kind of pushing the boundary on my own skill set and models for that skill set. So it's just that practitioner meets coach. I've started every department of a business. I've closed, around 40 million in sales. I've built and designed tech products from index cards to, the App Store. And so when I give advice, it's not cheap advice. It's like, no, you can do this. You really can. And usually you can spend less because actually you can probably figure this out on your own by weeding out the burdens that experienced business people who have never actually been where you are trying to load you down with. I don't know. It's very difficult to say exact outcomes other than simpler, better, faster, because I'll meet one business owner who all their friends said they're supposed to use QuickBooks, they're supposed to have this and that website, they're supposed to have this and that CRM, and they're spending all their time in these tools, but they don't even have any customers or revenue flowing yet. It makes no sense to do that. I'm like, you never have to even learn those things. You might want to learn one or two of them, but you can run. I've met many CEOs who start to 10 million plus company, they still don't know how to use QuickBooks. Because QuickBooks doesn't make business. It just tracks things that are happening. You need to go make the things happen, and then you can pay somebody to run QuickBooks for you. Those sorts of things give executives, I think, a fair amount of freedom. And what I can sometimes do is put words to that common sense and say, here's the lo-fi way to do that for where you're at today.
That's very interesting. And I'll make a quick comment on that because I was just last night working with some folks out of Australia, and they happened to we kind of came to the same conclusion in that Americans seem to think that setting up your website is the initiation of your business. And they were kind of laughing and saying, we don't waste our time with that. We go and we start launching and getting clients, and we may have a little splash page, but that's about it. And just something to kind of like help grab some emails and some contacts and start working their magic. And so I really kind of connect with what you said there, and it just kind of reinforces my last night's conversation. So
I think that's right. I mean, I'm having that same experience right now with a brand I'm trying to launch, where the website doesn't even reflect what is being done, but there are 14 customers buying what's being done and referring to others. And it's like, well, I guess we didn't need a website for that. Let's keep going. And then eventually we'll look back and see, what did we do? Maybe let's make a website for that. But if sales aren't happening that way because they're happening via intros and network, you know what? It's embarrassing to not have the website I wish I had, but at the same time, we're delivering value and getting paid. So let's keep doing that.
There you go. There you go. Well, so Isaiah, we've kind of come to this part of where we want to know how we can kind of get more of you for my listeners. So my listeners want to reach out to you, kind of talk to you, because you've got some very, not just interesting stories here, but you and I've known each other a long time, and you've got lots of other real keen insights, and everything from use cases to tradecraft kind of conversations that you can have with folks. So how would they go about reaching out to you?
LinkedIn's the best way to get a hold of me. And I have an email, which is isaiah@nextupleader.com.
Okay.
Like I just said, my website's crap right now. In a month or two, maybe it'll be better. But Isaiah@nextupleader.com, or just find me on LinkedIn. I tend to be a giver in this world. I know how hard it is to build and run a business. So I do a lot of, call it free. I mean, to me, I don't think of it that way, but free Q&A or calls with people, short power-ups to help them get going. And then what I've learned is a lot of people give me value that I never paid for, and I give other people a lot of value when I can. And when we have to get serious, if I know the person, I'll point them to the person. If they want it to be me, then we'll get serious. So I would love to take, any questions or thoughts from your listeners and point them the right way. Give them a template. Here's the lo-fi way to run your HR for, the next 3 years on a spreadsheet instead of paying up for tools. If you want that, I got you.
Yep. No, I got it. You definitely got the Marine Corps value system. Do more with less.
Yeah, much less.
So as we get ready to part, I've got one last question here, and then I'll kind of let you lead us out on it. But what kind of books are you reading today? And what would you suggest for my listeners to be looking at to add to their book list?
Okay, I will tell you. I have right here the 4 Agreements. This has become one of my favorites to recenter and ground me as I go to different interactions. And it's right here because I try to read little pieces of it throughout my week and kind of reset to some core beliefs. I have right here Give and Take by Adam Grant, talking about how to be a successful giver instead of an unsuccessful giver. That's really, really fun when I'm reading. And then over behind me, I've got 4 or 5 books over there. I'm reading too many at once, but they kind of are in different contexts. So we'll skip all the novels and sci-fi. And there's a book over there called Reboot, which is the deep leadership book I'm reading right now. And it talks about basically like, why do CEOs and a lot of extreme entrepreneurs who others see as successful feel unsuccessful and dark deep inside? And he deals with that, like basically the dysfunctionalness that's in there. Really, really being challenged by and enjoying that book. I'm basically like journaling every chapter afterwards. And then behind that is the Ignatian Examen book that I have. It's this little cute thing called Reimagining the Ignatian Examen, which is a 15-minute, call it meditation or prayer, that's like asking and inviting God into your day and saying, hey, how do we do so far today? All right, let's look at the rest of the calendar today, and help me think it through. And it's a 15-minute practice that you can do, and they've got 40 in that book. So that's what I'm reading.
Absolutely. I will make sure and link those books. I assume they can get them all on Amazon, right?
Of course.
Okay. Well, Isaiah, I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to good news and hearing about lots of people reaching out to you from this. So you take care, and God bless, and be highly favored, my friend.
Thanks for having me on, brother.
Thanks for listening to Morning Joe with Tom. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss an episode. See you next time for more real-life stories and inspiration on Morning Joe with Tom.